Welcome to Sigma TV and another episode from the Executive Interview Series. With us today, we have a man who is known as the King of Cards. His name is David Mahon, and he has totally reinvented card games as we know them. So, let's find out more. Thank you, David, for agreeing to this interview. So, you're basically reinventing a whole bunch of games that were massively popular. Are you trying to fix what ain't broke? What's the reasoning behind this?
Well, actually, it was a total, complete and utter accident, kind of like Back to the Future, slipping in the toilet and hitting your head on the toilet and coming up with a flux capacitor. Many people ask me, where did you come up with this? And honestly, it was truly just an accident. I didn't really choose this. It kind of chose me. But ironically enough, I've been playing cards since I was knee-high to a grasshopper. Literally on the day I turned 21.
You were
right
a pro
after
poker
work,
player, I believe.
The day after I turned 21, went straight to a casino, literally right after work.
Okay.
And I've been playing ever since, and I never really kind of understood how and why I could play the way I could or have fun doing what I did, and it just became an ultimate passion. But what I was really doing, I was creating television show concepts with my friends in Hollywood, and I needed a skill-based bingo game, and one didn't exist. So I got the crazy idea of like, well, maybe I can invent a skill-based bingo game. And so I needed a cash accumulation method, and I chose to use bingo to do that. And through that, I invented this skill-based bingo game, which we now call, well, a derivative of it is now called full color bingo. But what happened is I started showing the games around to people in the industry that said, man, you've got something here. You need to stop what you're doing and do this. And I got somebody in the industry and I can introduce you to them. So I was living in Beverly Hills at the time, and went up to Las Vegas and met some people in the bingo industry. Said, you have something here. And I was very fortunate to meet some really incredible people. Said, you need to do this or you need to do that. Why don't you try that? And long story short to that is I accidentally discovered that I had a deck of cards in there.
Happy accident.
Happy accident.
I mean, the end result is pretty revolutionary. Like, you've pretty much retaught the entire blackjack, and you can also subtract now cards rather than just add. Tell us about it. How does it work?
Well, so expanding on the last part of it, accidentally inventing the deck of cards, what you have seen and what the players will see and in full color cards, it looks like it's a deck of cards, but it's actually an entire math formula. So it doesn't just invent a new deck of cards, it invents an entirely new casino gaming math paradigm to where I can use that math and recreate a brand new way to play every casino gaming format in the world. So it started with full color bingo, it moved it into full color video poker, I have full color slots, and then it took me years to figure out what to do with this paradigm on the blackjack formats and the baccarat formats, and it just comes down to really simple, stupid format. And it's so funny when people say, it's like, wow, that's so simple, I could have come up with that. And it's really, those are the things that really actually change the world when it's so simple, stupid. And the simple, stupid part of it is that the bingo board and the color cards I was matching to it, when I cut up the bingo board, it turned into a white bingo board. And the way it was working is a positive, negative paradigm, a true or false, a win or a loss, if you didn't cover up all the white spaces. And so what ended up happening with that is I realized, wow, I have a full deck of cards. All the color ones are positive. All the negative ones are, all the white ones are negative. I've got something there. And then when I started doing the casino gaming math to try and figure out if I could get this to balance, I discovered...
Because the math doesn't sound simple at all, in all honesty. So.
Well, here, let me show you how simple it is. So the deck of full color cards, I removed all the aces and faces off of a deck of cards. And then I just changed the suits from diamonds, clubs, hearts, and spades to colors. And then by getting rid of the aces and the jacks and kings, we get all rid of the indicia, I just simplified it to colors and numbers. And so I have 4 color suits, but then I added a 5th dimension, which is the white suit. And with the white suit, that just becomes a negative score. So all color cards increase your score, all white cards decrease it. And that paradigm works in poker. All color is positive and all white is negative. And it works to prove that it's not just a deck of cards. I have full color craps. How do you make dice work? How do you do this? And so once you see the games, you go, wow, it really does do what he says it does. But the most difficult part of it is trying to get the math to balance out. And so that's the hard part. So I'm very, very fortunate. The math is not only certified by BMM, but I was so shocked by that, I even hired GLI to check BMM.
Oh, okay. But okay, I'll backtrack just a second here. You're saying you were fortunate to be licensed, but what was the process like? Because honestly, the maths part must be a massive nightmare to get right. I mean, so many loopholes can be found, so many problems. So how did you work that out? You're some massive maths guru, right?
No, I've never been to college. I have no math experience. I've never worked for any casino gaming company in the world. I just got. I'm someone who. The way I kind of explain it is, if you've seen the movie The Sixth Sense, where the actor sees dead people.
Well, you just gave it all away there.
I don't see dead people. But what I do see is I see numbers. And if you've ever heard of a guy named Daniel Tomei, he's the smartest guy on earth. You look him up, 60 Minutes did this incredible interview about him. They call him Brain Man. And when I watched the interview about him, about how he can do pi to 100,000 numbers deep in his mind, and he describes how he sees colors and patterns, that's like, wait, I do that. I do that too. And so all casino games are based on the laws of probability and the frequency in which they occur. And I just can go in and see billions of units of numbers, and I see frequencies and I see patterns. And then for me, because I don't have any formal training, I don't have that formal background, I didn't get that privilege, I just applied, for me, it's just common sense, that I started seeing the patterns. And then I tore it apart from a point of view of, how could the player try and cheat the house? And then long story short of that, I hired some computer programmers who said, these are my rule sets. We were running 61 computers, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to get absolutely every variable. I did it 1,800 different ways, 3.2 billion calculations, and took it into BMM. And they said, it's going to take you 9 to 12 months to get this certified. It's like, why? I did the whole thing in about four weeks. We actually did the first round of math in 1 hour and 21 minutes. But point being is, they said it's going to take a very, very long time. I made
Why do I have a feeling that you managed to fast track all this?
Yes. I made a wager with them. I bet them $12,000, which was just the price of doing the first round of math, that you could get this done and have it match my math within 30 days. And they said, well, you're going to lose your money. But they actually ran the math, and it came down and matched my math to exact numbers, and they certified the math. And then the next games I took in, they were also fortunately right on the money as well, and they certified that in full color baccarat. And so it's a very, very long journey. I think that the reason why people do not have the ability to invent new casino gaming paradigms in math is it's because of the math. It's so very, very difficult.
That's exactly what I am thinking.
So when I sat down with BMM the first time, they said the reason why it will take 6 to 9 months, maybe 12 months for us to certify this, is that we're here to protect the player. We're here to protect the regulators, the operators, and make sure that the game is fair, it's reasonable, and all the rules, all the possibilities and considerations have been done. And we don't care what you say. We are going to tear this apart. And I said, but I've already proven it. And they said, no, we have to prove it. And then one of the PhDs in the room said, David, one of the reasons why it's so difficult to do math in these types of variable games, it's not a fixed game, because you could change one card, pull a card out, and if you took 2 cards out instead of one, you stood instead of took another, you change the entire shuffle of the cards.
You have an entire...
And one of the PhDs said, there's more ways to shuffle a deck of cards than there are atoms on Earth. That, not being a math person, not knowing this, I don't have that training. It's like, that doesn't make sense. I don't believe that. I don't think anybody would believe that. And then they proceeded to prove it to me, and it's like, wow, you really are correct. And then my deck has 55 cards, and a traditional deck has 52.
So the possibilities increase even further.
It's a 55 factorial instead of 52. Yeah. So it's just crazier. So, but I've gotten very lucky.
Full color, as it were.
Yeah, so very lucky. I've figured out this paradigm and this math formula. But like I said, what was most exciting about it is that for me, it was simple, stupid. when you look at 21 or nothing, for example, when the color cards increase your score and the white cards decrease it, what happens there is that you now realize when you step back, it's really the first time I've ever seen in a card game where the score goes up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And that
totally unpredictable. I mean,
completely unpredictable. My games, for example, on blackjack have solved the multi-billion-dollar problem of card counting. You can't count cards anymore. You don't know if the score is going to go up or down anymore. And so that's a huge, huge, huge advantage for the casino gaming operators, because they're not going to kick players out of the casino anymore. I have friends that have actually just told me, I got banned from this casino because they accused me of counting cards, and I'm not a card counter. It's like, wow, how much did you lose in this casino every year? Maybe 20, 30,000. It's like, wow, that's a big mistake. So I'm out not only creating games that are more fun and exciting for them, I'm also fortunate to be able to appear to be solving the problems for the casino gaming operators, because they're losing customers because they have to protect the house. And so there's so many advantages and unique things in this, in my formulas and my paradigms that I've created and
luckily, the player does not have to concern themselves with, all the mathematical paradigms that run behind the game. But having said that, there are still like a measure of new rules to get used to. What have been the reactions so far? Are you worried that the players might go, well, why should I bother with, learning new rules when I already know how the old game works? What's in them? What's in it for them?
That's a really great question. It is. You must be a casino gaming operator, because I get asked this question by every one of them. So here's the answer to it. I do not, one of the operators said, listen, you don't have the privilege to sit down with a million people and explain 3 minutes of that. So if you can solve the problem of how you're going to educate the players, then I'd be fascinated. It's so easy for me to take the game. Not only do we love the game, but how are you going to educate these players, and how are you going to train them? So the first things the operators say is like, we're desperate for something brand new. Nobody has anything brand new. Everyone is just regurgitating, and they're trying to do a variation spin-off. There's nothing brand new, but they don't want a what's that. They want a widget. Everyone knows what a widget is. They've just never seen a widget in full color. They've seen widgets in black and white, so on and so forth. So that's the way they kind of see it at first. And every operator that I showed you, they said, if you can solve that quick start, if you can create a quick start, if you can create an interactive tutorial that every event that came up, they could get a little helping hand or a tip or so on and so forth, you might solve that problem. And so what we did when I built my remote gaming server is I spent nearly 9 months building out quick tips and a helping hand that's an interactive tutorial that every single event, it pops up, and my remote gaming server is translated in 43 languages.
Very useful.
So I wanted to make sure I hit as many people in the world as possible. So not only the quick tips and helping hands in English, even though the vast majority of people play it in English, there are obstacles. If a player says, look, it's not my language, I'm just not even going to entertain it. So I'm trying to take down the barriers to know and change that NO to KNOW. If I get you new information, which is relevant to you to learn how to play the game and feel good about it, you might make a new decision to play yes. So not only is it fun and entertaining and dynamic, it's extremely colorful. It's very inviting in that capacity, but I've solved that problem. And then some of the other things we have the live dealer. So with live dealer, the presenters also have the ability to listen, to read the text and so on and so forth, and say, and a little more information as they're dealing, like, oh, and you have a double natural, that's the second highest ranking natural hand, and for more information, click the button here. And so I get that opportunity of having interactive gameplay versus if you're just playing a brand new slot paradigm, there's going to be no interactivity. So it just, so many great things. I've listened to the operators. I did everything that they've asked me to do, and that's why it's succeeding now.
Basically, you made it impossible for players not to get it.
I've made it possible for them to not say no because you didn't explain it to me.
Okay.
So I've gone to extreme measures to translate it to the best of my ability, and I hired a professional translation company to do it, and there's always potato.
Sounds like it, but
I hope we fix these translations to everyone's perfection over time. I apologize if we got it wrong.
Well, I mean, translated to 43 different languages. 40. It sounds to me like you're trying to take over the world a bit here with this game.
Well, I'm not trying to take over the world. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bring a new product to the marketplace and give people, solve the problem of choice. Like when you're out trying to raise money, when you come up with something that's absolutely disruptive, even when Uber, how hard it was for them to raise money, it was next to impossible. It's like, how are you going to compete against yellow cabs? How are you going to compete against the medallions and the people that are paying all these regulations? You're never going to overcome this. And so what happens when you are going to try and raise money, and if you want to know the value of a dollar, try and borrow it from somebody. You have to go in and solve problems. The investors want to hear return on investment. It's the same thing as a casino operator. I want return on investment. I'm going to take out a table that I know makes money, and you want me to put it in with your table that has no background, has no experience. Why would I put that in there unless you're going to make me money? So return on investment, and even to the player has to have a return to player, because if the player doesn't get the return to player, they're not going to want to play it too. Exactly. So you have this incredible fine balance. So you find yourself in a position of solving problems. So what I
keeping everyone happy as well.
Well, I don't know if I can make them happy, but what I can do is solve the problem of choice. There's only one way to play blackjack. I now have A to B. You now have an alternate. There's only one way to play baccarat, only one way to play bingo, only one way to play all of these paradigms, and I've now brought choice. And with choice, what you're going to see is just like when you go down to the grocery store and there's 1,700 brands of shampoo. Which one do I choose? Yeah. It's just choice. But at one point in time, there was only one. And so I'd like to say that I'm more about bringing choice to the player and let them decide. It doesn't matter how great I think the game is, how great the operator is. The consumer is the arbiter of truth at the very end. Do we love the game or we do not love the game? And what I've been very blessed with, and like I said, I had the great fortune before the interview to let you play the game.
That was such fun.
And so what we find is that once people play games in full color and they get that up down paradigm, it's the same game, you know how to play it, but man, I've never played it like that.
It brings a strong touch of excitement to it, because you're never quite sure. Usually you can predict, okay, well, now we're getting close, best send, but suddenly it's like, whoa, options.
And so there's part of your choices within your choice, the choice within the game, and the choice of do I want to hit, do I want to stand? And as soon as you hit that white card, lower your score, reset your game, you're extremely happy instead of angry that I got a 10 and I busted. So it's really about solving the player's ability to have no choice whatsoever to now having a choice. And the extraordinary benefit, as you just said, I ask you a question. Would you go back and play blackjack now that you've played 21-0?
Maybe on a luckier day, though. I don't seem to have fared so well.
What we've found is that once people play our games, they don't go back to the blackjack. They just say, I don't bust as often. I don't bust like mad. I don't this, I don't that. I've got so many more options.
What I loved was the unpredictability of it all. My mind was not like taken on one road and there's nowhere else to go. It's like, maybe in the next hand we can totally recoup this. And that's, it's the endorphins are real.
They are real. Yeah. Very much so.
Yeah. So David, you're here in Malta pitching your game. Does this mean there's any plans for a Malta office maybe, or?
Absolutely. This is a worldwide destination for vacation people. People love to be here. So I was very fortunate. I applied for and got a Malta gaming license. We got a B2B critical game supplier license. Okay. And with that, every operator and distributor that I show to says, we'll take it as soon as it's ready. It's now ready for full integrations directly or through aggregators. So I've got more work than I know what to do with. So I'm here opening offices. Cool. And hopefully the country will have me and let me have a residence here, so temporarily. And so I'll be coming back and forth quite a bit. It's a beautiful island.
I do have one bone of contention to pick. I'm looking at your logo, full color, and you do realize that the American spelling, which won't fly too well in Europe. So, what's your plan about that when you get called out?
Fortunately, I acquired all the names of fullcolorgames.com, and so it's really funny. It's like
world domination. I was right.
So here's a funny story. So somebody was saying, hey, you've got to go check out Full Color Games. He goes, it doesn't exist. The website's dead. It's like, doesn't exist. It's like, well, how'd you spell it? Well, I spelled it the proper way. COLUR. It's like, there's this wrong. It's like, I'm not going to take that game. He doesn't even know how to spell color right.
That happened to me. I was looking it up and I'm like, whoa, wait, it's not working. Is this real?
So now let's look at the flip side of that coin. So now go to America. Imagine if I had fullcolorgames.com. It's like, we're not going to invest any money in this guy. He doesn't even know how to spell. You see how it goes both ways. So you know what? It's a very,
Just a
very
bit of fun with language,
it,
really,
it
I
is.
guess.
It is so difficult to be. It's just another difficult part of disruption. You're trying to please everyone,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
it doesn't matter. Even in politics, there's 50% of the people that vote for this person and 50% of the people that don't. And so we'd be happy to take the 50% of the people that love to play a new game, that have a new choice, and so on and so forth.
Onto a more serious topic. I hear that you are working with Hillary Stewart Jones, who is very well known in the mergers and acquisitions sector. So,
Hillary, if you're watching, love you. You are the queen. We know this. We all bow
clearly
down
we
to
all
your,
know
to your
this.
brilliance. So yes, I was very, very blessed. In the beginning, some of the great benefits and extraordinary fortunes I've had was one of the very first people I ever met in the casino gaming industry was Hillary. She was working at DLA Piper in London, and I went in and I did a demonstration for her. And if you remember, you got to play some Russian roulette.
Indeed.
We played Russian roulette. She had, I believe it's like a 16 card 21. She hit the 21 on Russian roulette. She had $16,000 down, and the dealer draws a 21 and pushes her. And everyone erupted in the room. She goes, wow, what a great experience. And she goes, I think you've got something here. And then she took me to lunch, and she has just been, she's like drinking out of a fire hose. With knowledge and wealth and experience in this industry. And she's been easily one of my biggest champions. And she came in and helped me get the Malta gaming license. She's just brilliant.
So it's not that you're planning your exit strategy already.
Well, if you could ever get the queen to come and run your castle, you'd be, I could exit, and then I could go to the Maldives and enjoy some free time.
Amen to that.
Love Hillary. She's great.
So my last question, I do detect a bit of the, of the Hollywood vibe, if you like, about it. I mean, even your trailers are very polished at first, you're brought right into the action. It makes you want to be there. How important is image? How important is it to have that whole showbiz vibe, I suppose?
So that's a great question. The irony of this is the birth of full color games came out of television. So my dearest friend in Hollywood is a guy named John Feist. He's the original producer of Survivor, The Apprentice with Mark Burnett. And so I was creating TV show ideas with John, and that's how full color games, the birth of it. And so with that, what happened was being around Hollywood. My former significant other was main anchor on Entertainment Tonight.
Okay.
So I've been around Hollywood and Beverly Hills my whole life, and I've had the extraordinary fortune of being around so many wealthy and successful, super uber household name successful people, and each one of them has a different color to the rainbow, all puns intended. And they give you little nuggets about how did you become successful, how'd you rise, how you fall, how important image is, how important branding is, how important the customer is, consumption integration, all of these things. And they made it very clear what I need to do. And I've tried to replicate their PR strategies, their branding image. And so even on my movie trailers, I have three. I have the little movie trailer. I have a little EPK. I hire what I call the voice of God to come in and make it sound so beautiful and wonderful. And so with that, the brand is very, very important. It's driven my investors a little bit crazy because I've been so slow to get certain things to the marketplace. I said, listen, the brand is so important. And then I've had some other great partners and investors who say, listen, do it once, do it right, never do it again. The consumers today with Twitter and Facebook, you write a bad check in Seattle at 12 o'clock, they know about it in Cape Town at 12.0001. It will beat you home. So you have to be very, very attentive to build the product the way the consumer wants it. They've been spoiled by Disney. They've been spoiled by Electronic Arts. They've been spoiled by the greatest programmers and graphics artists and designers. And if you don't bring a product out with that level of look and image and feel and stability, you are going to get one starred and you're not going to be around for very long. You can have a great product in the world and get killed by social media. You just have to be very careful. So I've spent an enormous amount of time with that. But speaking on the Hollywood part, we do have a reality television show put together on this, and so we have agents and the biggest agents and publicists in Hollywood that are excited to take this to the marketplace. And The real quick nutshell on how it would work, I can't tell you all the details, but it's
Give us a scoop. Give us a scoop.
it's a challenge-based reality TV show that I call experiential television, where you don't just watch the show, you are the show. And it really incredibly ties into how Sigma works with the affiliate marketing, to where we're going to open up the opportunity for people to come in and market and promote full color games and make money on it. So at home, you're not just watching the TV show. If you think you've got the connection, you can drive traffic, and you can train people better, and you've got a better idea and a better this, you can actually come in and prove that you are the eye of providence, that you know more, you can see more, you know more, and then you can prove yourself. And now you're in Argentina competing against someone in China, and you're in China competing against someone in the UK, and I brought more customer, and I brought more traffic, and I brought more money, and it just becomes a fun, cutthroat environment.
Sounds like,
and so what would happen is someone will ultimately, they will get to earn their way into the positions of the company.
Okay.
So it's a hybrid of all these successful formats and shows that already work. And so to close that up, because I have not just a new way to play 21, I don't have just a new way to play bingo. I have format after format after format. So the way it works, which is very important for the television production distributors, is that season 1 would be about 21-0 in the launch of that. Season 2 is full color baccarat. So we do the Western world, and we do the Eastern world. Then we have full color bingo, which is kind of the whole world. Then we have full color slots. This is season 2, season 3, season 4. Full color video poker, full color keno, full color craps. It just goes on. So we have enough television cycles for about 10 years.
Sounds like a lot of exciting stuff is coming our way.
If I could only get some sleep.
On that note, thank you, David, for doing this interview. It's been a really good ride.
Well, thank you for letting me be here, and the privilege to be a part of the Sigma family.
And thank you for watching Sigma TV.